At InDigital, we know the public safety professionals hold themselves to a high standard. In fact, standard doesn't do it justice. In over 25 years working alongside you, carrying millions of calls over our IP networks, your dedication has inspired us. That's why our ESINet goes beyond industry standards, not only i3 compliant, but designed to adapt to future development for a network you can count on when it matters most. Learn more at indigital.net.
Have you ever met a 911 professional and asked, what's the worst call you've ever taken? Well, here's your answer. I heard your last breath the night you flipped your four-wheeler. I tried to call you the day you committed suicide by driving your car into a tree. Blue face, cold to the touch. I helped you with CPR after you found your infant face down, not breathing. It messed me up. I did everything I could, but it wasn't enough. You were with me from the beginning, Grandma. 27 years later, I took the 911 call when you died. How fitting to be there for me in the beginning, and I was there for you in the end. I miss you, Grandma. I am 911. This is but a glimpse into the world of emergency dispatch. But what is it really like to answer a call during someone's nightmare? What is the impact on the first responder answering the call? From Titletown Publishing, and available on Amazon or where you purchase your favorite books and ebooks. Imagine listening. Your worst day is our everyday. If Within the Trenches has ever taught you something, open your eyes to what it is like to be a 911 dispatch, then help support us and join our Patreon. Get exclusive bonus content, one-of-a-kind swag, discounts on merchandise, ad-free early access to new episodes, and much more. To join, please visit patreon.com/WTT podcast. And if you're an industry partner, we have something for you as well. And now, for the show.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned. Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is going to be episode 516 of Within the Trenches, True Stories from the 911 Dispatchers Who Live Them. This episode is sponsored by InDigital, a leader next-gen core services. Shout out to all of the supporters, whether it be on Facebook or Patreon on Patreon, patrons of the podcast. Thank you all so very much, and especially all of you who are here watching, listening, supporting, sharing, all of it. Thank you so much. So yes, this is episode 516. Woo! 516. And this, actually jumping in here really quick, this is going to be the open mic portion of the Imagine Listening session that we heard last week. And this is with a live audience out in Indianapolis, Indiana. This is for the 2023 Indiana 911 Professionals Conference. And we had an excellent time. And I'm not even going to say any more. We're going to jump right into it. So without further ado, this is episode 516, and this is the open mic portion of the Imagine Listening session that was done with a live audience in Indianapolis, Indiana for the 2023 Indiana 911 Professionals Conference. Enjoy.
Dispatch.
There is no one over here to cook our lunch. We are waiting for our lunch, and there's no one here to cook our lunch.
All right, calm down. Where are you at?
The group home. Now, what are you going to do?
We'll get some help over there for you, okay?
Welcome to Open Mic, where we visit the lighter side of dispatch, because laughing is good medicine. That intro never gets old. That is my man right there. That is his voice. Yeah, dude. That was good. Thank you so much for that. When I ended up getting that, I thought, I have got to cut this up and turn it into an intro for open mic. This is going to be excellent, and it worked out well. Thank you all for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the 2023 Indiana 911 Professionals Conference, and you just heard them, but let's hear it again. We're here with a live audience. Let's hear it. So we just went through an emotional Imagine listening. Thank you all for sharing your stories. But now we're getting into open mic, where we share the lighter side of dispatch and we talk about the funny shit that happens. So, who has a story they would like to share? Oh, no way. Oh, okay, there we go. Here, right here. So let's try the mic.
Okay, this is a short one. This was about 10 years ago, middle of summer, like middle of the evening, 7 p.m., and I get a call on the 911 line. This guy is frantic. He is squealing. He gets his address out, and I say, okay, can you tell me what's going on there? This is like Minnie Mouse octaves. And he says, something, 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 my pool. I said, I'm sorry, did you say your pool, like your swimming pool? Yes. So automatically I'm thinking this is gonna be a drowning, this is gonna be trouble breathing, I'm getting ready to get medics on the line. And then I hear the word lobster. And I said, I'm sorry, what did you say about a lobster? Because I'm thinking, okay, this is going from serious to silly real quick. And he says, there is a lobster in my swimming pool. Okay, this is Indianapolis. So the odds of this happening are slim, and right away I'm thinking like, tornado? Dropped a lobster? What? I'm just not processing this, okay? I live in the city. So after going back and forth with this guy about why I'm not sending the police out for a lobster in his swimming pool, it occurs to me it's probably a crawdad in his swimming pool. And I asked him, just take your net and scoop it out. And he says, well, then what am I supposed to do with it? Eat it? Congratulations. He called 911 for a lobster in his swimming pool. It was a crawdad. It was on the heels of a serious call, and it was just so incongruous. It was so funny. There is a lobster? I almost transferred you a lobster call.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, so one night I get a call from our jail, which you never know what the inmates are gonna do, but they are stumbling over their words. Like, another one of those, you can't make this up. We need an ambulance. Okay, what do you got? What's going on? We have an inmate that has an object not where it belongs. Okay. What did they do?
It's in the toolbox.
They put a crayon in their penis.
Oh my. That's not what I thought you were going to say.
And my partner at the time was neither of the people at my table, but when I turned around off the phone call and told my partner what I had going on, their response, because you know our minds work crazy, we're dispatchers. Their response was, I wonder if they took the paper off first.
Thank you. Oh my
Every
God.
man in this room did this.
Yes.
Every man at the same time.
like,
it was a whole.
Oh my God.
So I work day shift, just started my shift, and I had a female call 911. She was frantic, in tears. He's down, he's not breathing. So I get her dressed, get him started, and she said, I haven't seen him since last night. So I get him out there, got the medics there and stuff. Well, the fire department didn't find it funny that she had called 911 for her horse. So my shift mates decided that they were going to plaster horse medic on the side of my locker. So they said she doesn't need us, she needs a vet. So
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me? First off, you got to understand that I'm a big smartass.
Yes.
So just to lead up to this call, a few years ago, I was working third shift before I became director, and I took a call from a female who was obviously crazy, and she wanted somebody removed from her apartment. And I said, okay, who is it? And she said, it's Jehovah God. I was like, what the hell's Jehovah God? And then she proceeded to tell me that it was Satan and Jesus having anal sex in her bed, and that Satan had spit in her vagina and it was on fire. So the only thing that popped in my head at the time was I asked her if either one of them was on the lease. That just popped in my head. Are they on the lease? Because if they're on the lease, we can't help you. That's a civil matter. So, yeah, that was my story. And just real quick, I was in the radio business. I DJ'd for a country radio station, and I was doing request night one night, and this guy called me, and he's like, "Hey, can you play me a song? It's my anniversary, or me and my wife's anniversary." And I was like, "Sure, I'd be happy to. What song do you want?" He's like, "Well, I'll let you pick. Just pick a good one." Wrong answer. Because I dedicated "You're the Reason Our Children Are Ugly" to her.
Yes!
Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you. Yeah.
So, guy that calls all the time, calls non-emergency, you know, I answer. He's like, "I'm having an issue with my neighbors and their kids." I said, "What's going on?" "They're blowing bubbles." "Okay, sir, but what's going on?" "They're blowing bubbles and it's coming in my yard and it's popping and I'm gonna get COVID from it."
What?
Yeah. So I'm like, "Okay, I'll have an officer come talk to you, but it is not illegal to blow bubbles in the town of Speedway. I'm sorry."
Wow. Thank you.
All right, so we had just gotten Prepared Live, and if anyone uses that thing is awesome. And I pick up the call, and this woman is screaming that the neighbor dog is attacking her dog. And I hear her screaming, and I hear a dog yelping in the back, and she's not answering my questions. So I have no idea, is the dog just attacking her dog? Is the dog attacking her? I mean, she is hysterical, not answering questions. Then a friend of hers gets on the phone. And I'm like, "I need to know what's going on." She's like, "I don't know, the dog's just attacking her dog." And I'm like, "Okay, we just got Prepared Live." So Rob was like, "Use it, use it, use it." So I'm like, "I'm gonna send you a link. And I really need you to give us permission so I can see what's going on. I've got deputies en route, but I need to know how big these dogs are. Is the dog injured? Is it going after people?" So the video comes up on Prepared Live, and my partners and I are looking at this, and I'm ashamed to say, for a lot longer than we should have. And I said, "Congratulations, you are gonna have puppies." And then we realized about 3 more minutes we were still watching doggy porn on Prepared Live. Yeah, so there's our Prepared Live funny story.
I'll have to get that.
And we let the deputies know over the radio.
Very nice. Thank you so much. All right.
This call in particular, I didn't take, but I was second on the phones, and I see the call taker take a call. And you ever get those calls when you hear your coworker say a keyword, it just makes you kind of turn your head and you go, did you really just say what I think you just said? So in this case, I'm just listening, and all of a sudden I hear the word, "So there's a werewolf in your backyard?" Needless to say, at that point, I normally don't listen in on other people's calls. I don't like doing that. But yeah, I might have jumped in on this call. And you see, to give you the background picture, this town is very, very tiny. It's in the east part of our county. There's not very many people who live there. And it is, imagine the most redneck town you can imagine, and that's pretty much what this town is. So I'm listening to this call, and he says, and I quote, "You better tell my motherfucking neighbor to stop breeding these motherfucking werewolves in my backyard!" At that point, my coworker and I just start staring at each other. So then she proceeds naturally to ask the next important question. "Well, where are they now?" He goes, "Well, you should know they're on my fucking roof." And she goes, okay. So naturally, where this town is, it's in the northeast part of our county, and it takes 15 to 20 minutes to get there. So this guy does not want to get off the phone, so we're listening to this for upwards of 20 minutes as this is going and going. And he said, so naturally we start asking some of the more curious questions. Well, how many werewolves are there, and how good of breeders are they? And he goes, well, they must be pretty good because I see them all year round, and there's at least 4 or 5 every night, every day of the fucking year, and this needs to stop, and I'm not gonna stop calling until we get an officer to resolve this. Officer gets out there. In his narrative, he puts, no werewolves, 10-8.
Very nice. Thank you. All right. There was one more over here.
Okay, so mine is not a 911 call, but I call it dispatch revenge for all of us that have to work with police officers and the lovely questions that they ask on the radio. Last week I had a open fire in a field, and the fire department was on scene, and they asked for an officer to come to the scene. I tell them, fire needs an officer. Officer gets on the radio and goes, can you tell me what I'm looking for? Couldn't resist, folks. I said, look for the big red fire truck.
Excellent. Thank you. All right.
Did you say there was one more?
Just this one right here, and then.
All right. So first year dispatcher, I get a call, and normal standard alarm line. Type up an alarm call, type it up fine, send it over to control like we're supposed to. Control dispatches it. About 2 minutes later, control hits me on the intercom and says, Ben, you sure that's the right phone number in the CAD there? Is that the right run? Like the right phone number in the run? I'm like, yeah, it's the right phone number. I put it in right. Are you sure? Maybe you should listen to the recording. I'm like, no, I put it in right. I know I put it in right. I was confident. They're like, you should really call that number back. And I'm like, fine. I'll call it back. So I call it back, and it rings, and next thing I know, I hear, oh yeah, baby, if you want to have a good time. And I went as fast as I could. So for the next month, I continued to receive messages from all of the officers. When I came in the next morning, good morning, big boy. How are we today?
Hell yes. Thank you.
You know what's sad about that story?
I've got one last story for you, and then we'll wrap it up, all right? Thank you again for being here and sharing your stories. This has been excellent, and an excellent way to close out. The last time Imagine Listening will be where it all started. So, here we go. This is years ago when I was in dispatch. On a Wednesday, we had so we worked 3 12s and a 4. I don't know why, but that's the way we did it. And the 4 was on Wednesday. And I was going in for a 1A to 5A shift, okay? I'm on my way there. I need to pick up something to eat and something to drink so that I can stay awake, right? It's midnight shift. So I go into the gas station, I'm walking around. I get myself a 12-ounce Red Bull, all right? Energy drink, stay awake, need some caffeine. And then I pick up something to eat, a gas station burrito. I think that's the part that I love the most when I tell this story is as soon as I say that, everyone's like, oh shit, literally. Yeah, and this burrito was called the Red Bomb. Yes, I didn't know this was gonna be my future, but I bought it. And I go into dispatch, okay? Go into dispatch. I'm there early enough to warm everything up. I thought I was gonna be on backup phones. Nope, my ass was gonna be on main phones. I was like, all right, that's fine, I'll just go. Go and sit down, relieve the person, destroy that burrito. So good. And yes, and I chug that Red Bull, and then I'm just sitting there. There's nothing going on. And then the phone rings, and it's for a BOL. There is the county that is south of us. They're chasing someone, and they're going to be going into our county. So I start taking all the information, and as I'm taking the information and I'm listening and everything, I get this weird twitch, and I thought, oh hell no.
Like, this is not happening right now. Not while I'm on this call, this emergency call. This is not happening right now. I start sweating. Like I start getting bubble gut. Like my stomach is talking to me to the point where I'm in pain. Now I'm sweating enough that if anybody was over there on the other side with me, they probably could have smelled me through my sweat. Like it probably would have smelled beef. Like that's how bad it was. And I'm freaking out. And I had already sent a message over to my coworkers saying, if I have to get up to go use the bathroom, you need to take the call. Because I don't know about you, but in my dispatch center, we had a bathroom inside the center, right? And I wasn't gonna drop heat there. No, I was not gonna drop heat there with my peeps. And then we've got one down the hall. So I have to put him on hold because it's getting bad. Put him on hold, I'm like, I gotta run down. So I haul ass running so fast that there's like, you could see smoke. Hopefully smoke, nothing else, right? Go, do my thing, and I come back, and I'm like, all right, I'll take the phone back. So I'm on the phone. Oh, and again, it happens. The stomach starts tightening up again, like you've got to be kidding me. Not again. Now, you know sequels in movies, they're the worst, right? Well, in the shit world, it's the same. I mean, have you ever tried to hold in gas? Like it starts to go up your back and it turns into like a back fart? Yeah, dude. No, it was really bad. Oh, I broke her back there. She's laughing hard. So I'm going through this, literally, again, I'm going through this shit right now, and I'm freaking out in my head. I'm like, come on, Cheek, stay together. Just stay together. Just help me, please. And I can't do it. I cannot hold on anymore. So I put him on hold really quick, and I get up to tell my partners, and one of my partners stands up, and he says, you gotta poop, dude? I was like, look, it's not a warrant. You don't have to confirm it. But yes, I do. So I haul ass again, and I go do my thing, and I come back, and no one is on the phone anymore. So I'm like, oh, awesome. They got the person. So I sit down, start to try to relax after the hell I just went through. Phone call again. It's the same people. This guy was going into the county and out of the county, back and forth, and I'm thinking, throw the stop sticks down. Take him out or something. I'm going through my own shit literally right now. Help me out here. So I'm on the phone with them, and now my trilogy of poo, because it happened again. My stomach is blowing up, and wow. And I put them on hold, and I stand up. I was like, I'm going to go right here. I can't. And they're like, what? I was like, not right here. Not literally right here. I'm going to use the bathroom that's inside the center. So I go in, and I turn all the water on. I turn the fans on. Anything to mask the hell I'm about to go into. Because if you've ever watched Dumb and Dumber, you know I was going to be in there screaming. And I was dying. I come out and they're all laughing at me. I was a supervisor on duty, and all I could think was, I'm gonna turn the heat up so that you guys can smell it. Because they're making fun of me. I didn't. Now, years later, okay, I'm out of dispatch. Years later, I'm on a family trip. We're going to Washington State. We stop in Montana really quick to get gas. Walking, minding my own business in the gas station, and I get this weird familiar twitch. And I was like, what the hell was that? And this really happened. I turn and I look into the cooler, and it's a cooler of Red Bomb burritos next to a display of Red Bull, and all I could think was, screw you, Montana. That's my story. Thank you all very much for what you do. When you leave here, hold your head up high. Not a lot of people can do the job that you can. Your story is important. Share it with people. When people ask you what you do, don't get annoyed. Give them a story. Not all the detail, not the hardcore shit. People just want to know exactly what it is that you do. And everything that you did here, you just showed it. And what everyone is going to hear later on, they're going to know as well. So thank you for the job that you do as the most vital piece of public safety. Thank you. Woo! Have an excellent rest of your night. Don't eat any burritos or drink Red Bull.
Woo! And we're back. Oh, man. So many great stories. and also stories that just leave you thinking, huh? Like, did that actually happen? Oh, it did. It did. In 911, you can't make this shit up. So that's why I love doing open mic as well. And it's a good follow-up from the Imagine Listening session, because Imagine Listening is very powerful, very gut-wrenching. There's a lot of saves on there as well, but a lot of those calls are some harder ones that are there. So just that's why we have open mic afterwards, so that we can heal and find some sort of closure together in support of each other by sharing these stories through the power of storytelling and, of course, humor, because laughing is good medicine. So thank you, all of you, once again for being there, for the conference, for bringing me in. And again, it was bittersweet to be able to do it there, because that was the venue where Imagine Listening started. And that is the last time it'll be at that venue. So I remember I was walking out and I was just kind of looking around the room and thinking about those moments when I was there, and just testing everything, testing and testing and testing. So much fun. A lot has happened since then and continues to happen. And I'm just excited to continue doing it, and to have all of you that support me doing it. So thank you so very much. Going into the wrap up of this, if you have any comments, questions, or you want to be a guest on the show, you can email us, and that is going to be wttpodcast@gmail.com. Once again, that is wttpodcast@gmail.com. You can become a patron of the podcast on Patreon, and that's patreon.com/WTT podcast. You can also become a subscriber on Facebook. That is facebook.com/Within the Trenches podcast/support. But an easy way to find all of this is to simply go to links.co/WTT podcast. And once again, that is links with 2 I's.co/WTT podcast. You can find everything on there: email, social media, where to follow, the latest podcast episode, how to become a supporter of the podcast, where you can purchase the Imagine Listening book, and then, of course, podcast swag. You can find it all there. So thank you again, all of you. This episode has been sponsored by InDigital, Leader Next Gen Core Services. This can be seen on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, as well as Twitter or X. And you can listen 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.